All right, hi everybody. My name is Bruce Burns, and let's see if I can also get my video up here. Right now they can't see me, and I don't know why. Grid video.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. There.
Okay.
Ta-da! We now both officially exist in Zoom. I'm I'm a Luddite, right? My computer is my typewriter typewriter stereo and television combo. That's about as sophisticated as I get because I mostly live in my imaginary worlds with my friends whom I torture for fun and profit. I'm Bruce Burns, an aspiring indie author, and joining me is my buddy Josh Roseborough,
Uh-huh.
and who is a fan of some of my books, and he has decided very helpfully keep me from putting my opinions into the mouth of an online critic. And to let you know the story, I have a Facebook stalker who had for the last 6 months or so has just randomly shown up, and he never really actually has anything constructive to say. He kind of crop dusts, comes by, just dumps a load of DFL party tripe, straight from, not everything is a simple regurgitation. He did go to communist China to teach English, where he apparently found it very rewarding and made many friends within the Communist Party, according to his posts. Right. So that lets you know this is not like I got a negative review from a random book reviewer. I woke up this morning and I had a review waiting for me. Not a public review, but a review in Messengers. And not a small review, but a 2,800 word long screed of "I hate you, I hate your face, it was such a pain to read your stuff, you suck," and
Also, I
and
love the sound of my own voice.
and I love the sound of my own voice. Yeah. So now, for those of you who don't know, authors trying to speak in word count instead of pages, 2,800 words, depending on your formatting, particularly which font type you're using. That's an 10 to 11 page college paper, double spaced, without bibliography or title. So if you were to hand in a 15-page paper for 25% of your grade in an undergraduate class, that's the level of screed, bookmarked, mind you, bookmarked by "I had to force myself to do this and I don't have the energy to do this." We'll get there. Right. And I have screenshots for all of this, but for the sake of preserving, of not fisking where Darrel lives, um and what state he's from, so that he can continue to find friends and gain more of the attention that he so desperately needs in life to become a more well adapted and well rounded person. I've put this all together on a Google Doc called Darrel Reviews Everything, except by everything, I only mean one book. And by one book, I mean he didn't read it very carefully, but we'll get into that. And so my dear friend Josh Roseborough has decided he will help me rather than let me put my own bias to my internet stalker in my voice, in his words, which would favor me immensely. Roseborough has neither read this book, so yeah, okay. Well, I'm putting words in your mouth now. So just so Josh, have you read The Slave of Tour Haute or any of the Tour Haute series?
Not yet.
No. Okay. But you have read my book. You're kind of familiar with my writing.
Yes, I am familiar with your writing.
You
Yes.
you're currently helping me record the audiobooks to you've helped me record the audiobooks of two, and to two
Mhm.
of my books, that we're working on to get on. So you've heard all of two or three of my books, and you're currently what else do you what else do you know about my writing, I guess, for the interwebs?
I know you've explained to me in great lengths where a lot of your inspiration for your books comes from, or at least some of the ideas that you kind of pull on in order to, for your stuff. You're very open about using your own family lineage and heritage as focal points for the languages being used within your stories and
Oh yeah,
uh,
we're gonna get to that.
right. Yeah. So, and the phrase that comes to mind is if you've stolen from more than five sources, it's called research. And your idea is to like pull everything that you can glean that's good from as many sources as possible and kind of crush it together and form some sort of crazy storyline where all the characters are tortured immensely.
In fairness, I'm going to plagiarize from yet another source, which is Jim Butcher. I don't like to torture my characters. I like to torture my readers. And it's just I get arrested if I do that directly, so I have to write books. Now, that being said, um, I think let's only go like 50% on the voice for Darrel, but one
I mean,
reason.
I could go with the full, like, my name's Daryl. I'm a communist. I love communist China. I won't do that. That I think would actually be too mean. To Daryl anime filter. I'll just read it with my own natural voice so as not to further add my particular biases to it.
I affirm you.
It might be a little hard to listen to 2,800 words worth of like the shave a throat.
So not only do I want to do this just because I can't think of a bigger dick move than, putting a whole hour worth of typing insults to somebody as a private message and then flouncing away. And I want Darrel's dick to get the attention that it deserves in public, which is, you know, you decided to wave your jerk flag around, and we will salute it. Um,
Things can get attention in very different ways in public. Accolades, hammers. Who knows?
I mean, but just be. This is not some random
No,
stranger.
no.
I think a couple 1-star reviews on Amazon. Um,
Hmm.
uh, well, I can try to find them. You know,
Field trip time.
quick. So I mean, I am not the best author on the face of the planet, and all of my books. Let's
Slave.
see.
There it is.
Here's Slave of Tour Haute. And again, it's not perfect. I've got a pre-release that's coming up, so I'm not going to plug that shamelessly, beyond what I've already just done.
The author
And
doing a video, not gonna shamelessly plug his own material on his own video. That's weird.
this is a video about Darrel. Darrel wants the attention. Darrel is getting the attention. Okay. I do not want to, I need to love my brother in Christ the way that I would like to be loved. And I made such a desperate plea for negative attention. I want him to have a full cup of negative attention flowing over so that his wants have been met according to my ability. So, there's a 4-star review.
There's a
That's
four
not,
and a
there's a
five. There's no
4.
there's no one.
Five,
There's no one
five,
star.
555, see all reviews. Five
Yeah.
stars and 4s. This is
Uh,
so this is the book. So here's what other people have to say. You wanna help me out here, Rose Bro?
sure. I'll read this one from Katie. Yet another one of Bruce Burns' stories that I enjoyed a lot. I love the characters. Queen Olivia is one of my new favorites, each of their stories, and I think he created the greatest villain. Oh boy. Haven't met Zedekiah yet.
Oh
The
no!
authors.
Oh no! I think Helen is a better villain than Zedekiah,
Okay.
and Noir is also very fun. You'll meet them
All right.
eventually.
The author switched perspectives of the characters at just the right moments and had just enough cliffhangers to make me want to bop him over the head with a foam sword multiple times. Hey,
In
that's not
fairness,
fair.
this reviewer is a third-degree black belt, so that's more of a threat than it might otherwise be. This is not some random LARPer. She can take my
Right.
kneecaps. So
Hey, that's not fair. I want to know what happens to so and so. It was a brilliant way to keep me hooked into the story. I got to participate in an audio edit during long road trips to martial arts with Bruce, and it made the trip so much more entertaining.
let's see. So T.S. Christopher's a published poet that I know, and he
Oh,
he gave this review.
The author of the series is a personal friend of mine, and although I enjoy his Adrian Campbell series, I truly enjoyed this book. I believe this to be one of his best works. I cannot wait to read book number two. Is that the first one took me 36 hours to read. I believe book two will only take me about half that time. Bruce is an amazing author. He's well versed in his mythology. He takes it to another level. That is a very long run-on sentence. Also,
If only somebody were able to just consistently give you simple sentences so you could get to the story. Oh, we'll get there.
right. Also Burns. So,
I know, I know. I didn't write this review. Here's
uh,
proof. I'm not writing my own
I'm
reviews.
gonna try.
I'm not a sock
I'm
puppet
trying
account.
to read this without creating editorial like things on my brain because like the lack of punctuation and it's fine. It's fine. He writes like a poet. There's no punctuation. Uh,
Yeah, right.
Also Burns, so exciting character and much more. I highly recommend this book to anyone and everyone. Keep up the good work. Bruce finished book three of Adriana, probably the Adrian Campbell
Adrian's
series.
series.
Yeah. Cause by the time I finish book three, I will be salivating for book four, Legrandel. I'm, you know what? I'm gonna, in my head canon, I actually know exactly how he wrote this book. See, he stayed up all day reading this
He
book,
he did
and
read he did read the 150,000 word book in one sitting.
right. So this is a review he wrote at like 3 a.m., like punch drunk from sleep deprivation, and going like, "This book is so amazing. Like, who cares about punctuation? Just book good, read book." And honestly, that kind of level of dedication I can respect.
Okay. So the next hater,
Okay. Oh, scare it.
it's Garrett. Yeah.
It's scary. I feel like I need a more gruff voice for this.
Hey man, you've got this chops. I don't
This book was amazing. I was a touch skeptical about mixing fantasy themes with Christianity so overtly, but Bruce pulls it off extremely well. The storyline kept me so enthralled that I found myself taking breaks at work just so to read more and considering skipping social events. As the story reached its climax, I found myself with shivers running down my spine. I can't wait to dive into the next book. I tried to do his voice justice, but I haven't listened to it probably enough to be able to get the right cadence or anything.
uh yeah, well, you got the soul of Scarrett. He will see this. I'm pretty sure he will approve.
My character is so dead.
Sarge accidentally shoots his Jedi in the back of the head. Oops, sorry, I missed.
That's a little reference to a game that Bruce is currently GMing where we're
I'm
doing.
currently running a Star Wars Clone Wars game, and I didn't know that the Clone War that we would be reenacting after this moment would be Vietnam, but it apparently will be. It's
It's gonna be insane. Okay, so AH. Truly enjoyed this book. The author creates vivid scenes within an incredibly imaginative landscape of setting, characters, and plot. The pacing was perfect, and the characters multidimensional, all of which kept me interested in wanting more. I'm so glad there is another Burns book I can begin. See, honestly, everyone just hates your work. They can't stand it. Look at all this negativity
you
here.
can
This
feel the
is
pain. You can feel the pain.
absolutely, I can
I
feel it.
what that's all of them, and there's nothing more than more 4 5 stars. I think feel like we've
Yeah,
proved our point. We can move
yeah,
on. Yeah, we've proved. Yeah.
the general consensus from other people is that this book is just terrible. So,
So
you know,
this is the book reviewing The Slave of Turhout, The Song of Legrandel, Book One, which I originally wrote in 2008, before I went back to college for my English degree.
mm.
So this is one of the oldest books I've got that's still published other than Darkblade. Um, so if you too would like to suffer the pain of my book and would like the motivation to leave a 2,800 word screed, your justification is available on Amazon, Kindle, and paperback. And please enjoy the suffering here.
We
Um,
challenge you directly. This is a challenge. Get this book and write a 2,800 word screed.
about how much it hurt you.
Exactly.
Can you show us on the doll where Bruce's story hurt you? All right. Speaking of Darrel, of monetizing Darrel's pain, we've mostly been talking about Darrel's pain without reveling in Darrel's pain.
Right.
So we should really get to monetizing Darrel's pain.
Absolutely.
All right, away we go. This is gonna be fun.
And Darrel anime filter.
Yep, and we'll just, I mean, while while the suffering of people who stalk me with hatred on the internet warms the cockles of my hearts in ways that deserve a PG-13 rating, we will, he did take a lot of time to write this 11-page screed, and I don't want him to feel that his time was wasted. So we will stop and like address his multiple concerns
Absolutely.
so that we're not just, taking this chance to get together online and say neener to the neener. Um, Take it away, Aaron.
All right. The Slave of Turhout Review. I purchased this book for my Kindle and I used its features to make notes, highlights, and to count occurrences of words and phrases. I ask forgiveness in this review if this review is a bit disjointed. It took me a long time to force myself to read every single word of this book, and I don't want to spend much more time reviewing it. But you asked for people's opinions back on October 23rd, 2022, Bruce, so here is mine. I find it interesting that he has stated that reading words hurts him. I,
Particularly how hard it was for now most of my reviews are that I cause people sleep deprivation, but fortunately this is like a pain aversion conditioning we've been able to offer free of, well, for $8.99 on Amazon Kindle. Yeah.
Yep.
Cough. I mean, poor Darrel.
Paragraph 2.
Uh,
I read and reviewed The Slave of Turhout for two main reasons. I like and very much appreciate well-written fantasy and science fiction. I have enjoyed science fiction since my teens. I very much would like to see a writer publishing works outside the conventional publishing world succeed. And now he's going to spend the rest of it saying why this one shouldn't.
Well, success among other things is dictated by reviews, both positive and negative, because that all counts as traffic.
Exactly.
Let's see about Darrel's let me double check Darrel's efforts to help me Nope, nothing. I
Nope.
got nothing. Anyway,
No.
moving right along.
He surpassed the character count.
So he wanted to succeed so closely that he put his review in a private, in Facebook Messenger, and
So
then
we're just
ran
making
away.
it we're just making it public.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, we're
You know.
helping him make me succeed.
Absolutely. So, show, don't tell. A great rule to remember for any author. This book greatly lacks. Is that actually a proper sentence in the beginning of paragraph 3?
No,
No.
it's both. It is a comma splice of two sentence fragments,
Yeah.
because neither of them has. Oh, okay, so if you take show as a vocative, you can make show don't tell a directive sentence. It's an imperative, right?
Yep.
Sorry, not vocative. I'm thinking about Koine Greek. An imperative in English. You will so uneducated. You will you know take out the garbage, direct, imperative,
Yep.
and then it's a comma splice. But
Right.
right.
Yeah. I'm baffled. This because it feels like this guy is never mind. Anyway, that's my own commentary. So he starts off paragraph 3 with a two fragmented sentences slammed into one. This book greatly lacks any attention paid to the rule. The reader is told many times that the ruling Martell family and the people of Martell are historically vicious and cruel, but no incidents of these traits are given. The readers are not even told about any incidents of notable brutality in Martell history, merely told that Martells were and are the baddest of badasses. The most vicious actions the generation of Martell royalty in the novel engage in are, I could not believe it. For a moment or two, I thought you were going for parody, throwing pillows at each other and having bubble baths. Well, okay, bubble is not specifically mentioned, but the visual came to mind. King Alfred the Bather is not the appellation you likely want for a king from a legendarily vicious, power worshipful Dynasty. I'm gonna.
So the scene that he's referring to takes place in the end of Act One. Is the that's the last scene of Act One. I plot my books in a Shakespearean 5 act plot. So Act One, you introduce the characters and your opening problem. Act Two, you develop both your characters and your opening problem. Right. So here's Hamlet. Here's his family. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Mission from a ghost, and Hamlet reveals how clever he is and how corrupt the court is, and by doing the investigation to see beginning the investigation to determine whether that's a demon pretending to be his dad to get him damned for murder, or whether he has an injustice to avenge. Right now, the opening thing gets answered in Act 3, the technical climax. Hamlet does the play. Hamlet discovers his father is the murderer, but because he's driven his stepfather to confession, and he has and then the stepfather has received the forgiveness of Christ, then killing him would not avenge his father, free him from purgatory, but send him straight to heaven. So Hamlet goes kind of mad at the frustration and ends up killing Butt Snorkeler, the great the great courtesan. I mean, not courtesan but courtier. I mean, who just happened to be hiding behind a tapestry in his mother's bedroom, which isn't the slightest bit sketchy. And then that's a new problem. The new problem gets addressed in Act 4. The attempt to murder Hamlet and Hamlet's victorious return in Act 5. Everyone dies, in, in a really good sword fight, because everything is better with swords.
I'm gonna.
Um,
I'm gonna have to add butt snorkeler to my lexicon.
uh, Polonius is just a lot of fun, but he is. Ah.
Yes. Hmm.
Anyway, so at the end of Act 1, there is indeed the king takes a bath. Now the king takes a bath right after his wife, Richard, and like 3 guards kill a cabal of approximately 50 people, all of their men at arms, except for 3 who escape, because again, the plot has to continue. It's only freaking Act 1. Um, Queen Olivia has, I think, killed 5 people directly with archery in the previous 2 chapters. There's been a sword fight of Richard Dubois against a demon-possessed assassin. There's been some grenades, and the Martells view this as foreplay, because as the attack is about to come down, she asks her husband for various body parts, for the heads of the traitors to be mounted on the walls, and that would make her happy. Um,
Clearly not badass enough
right,
for
right.
Darrel.
But then they go home and the king takes a bath. So if we eliminate the 2 chapters of blood slaughter, internecine warfare, and civil rebellion, during which the royal family arbitrarily closed the city gates and locked every single person in the city down with no civil rights or appeal, but he does take a bath, and his wife. They're a happily married couple, and he's troubled, and he was taking a bath, and she comforts him, verbally on screen, encourages him, and it's heavily implied that their marital relationship continues off screen, because I originally wrote this book for 13-year-olds. you know,
But
um,
and this caused Darrell much pain
right?
reading a
King
book that was
King
designed for.
Alfred the Bather, shudder. Yes.
Yes, because personal hygiene is verboten.
It's a mixed bag. It's not a common habit. Contrary to what actually happened in the Middle Ages, was bathing was when bathing was quite regular,
Hmm.
except for among certain factions of the nobility.
Mm.
There are medieval bathhouses up to and including Anglo-Saxon England. Um,
Hmm.
Weird.
Weird. So,
And married couples talking around the bathroom, as another just hideous softness on my part. They
mm,
totally not. I don't know. I mean, so point taken. point taken. After 3 hours of combat and avoiding a civil war and all the entailing stresses, including almost having one of your sons killed in front of you that afternoon, you should not unwind.
No,
You should be
absolutely.
like drinking blood from somebody's skulls.
Right. We shall continue. Richard Dubois is referred to 16 times as High Executioner, once not capitalized. Oh dear. But capitalized enough to consider it a title. Perhaps the head of a whole office of executioners in the brutal, supposedly cruel Martel regime. But no one gets executed in the long course of the entire novel. No one's neck gets stretched and no one's head rolls, despite Richard having a really bitchin' sword with a really bitchin' name, just begging to be used to separate some miscreant's body from cranium.
I
If you
love the gear shift, right? I mean, we started off so highbrow, I don't really want to do this, and it took me so long to force myself to go slumming through your works, and now, yeah, and now we're at a monster truck rally, which is
right.
totally bitching. Although honestly, I associate that word more with surfing than I do with
Yeah.
flyover country. That's
Right. Yeah. And the way I'm reading it in my brain is something you were like Monster Truck Rally or like the 90s action movie announcer during the trailer. Richard having a really bitchin' sword with a really bitchin' name, just begging to be
but
used to separate some miscreant's body from cranium.
I mean, he does have a really awesome sword with and he's got an excellent name, and he is the high executioner. And I don't want to upgrade. Leave me alone. Oh, it's timed. Goodness gracious.
Oh, wait, are we out of time?
No, no, I've got 10 minutes left.
Oh, that is a bummer. We'll probably have to switch to OBS then.
Ugh, we're only like 3 paragraphs in. I
well, we can splice in this stuff with the other video footage
No,
then.
you're a video editor. I am not. I do not have that amount of time in my weekend.
Oh, literally, it was just slap one piece of video with the other one.
All right, we'll do what we can. We might have to just do multiple meetings. I might
Oh
just have to
man.
restart the meeting.
Okay. All right. Here we go. The next sentence. If you're going to have a high executioner of a violent, cruel kingdom, you need to have him execute someone, anyone, publicly, and ceremonially chop off their head with Kadokio, lift the bloody, dripping head by the hair, and parade around the stage with it as an example of the common rabble not to cross the badass Martell royalty. I mean, if he wants to write his own story, he's more than welcome to.
But I don't want to write Game of Thrones.
No, this is King Alfred the Bather does order the execution of Sven. Where's Oli and Lena? Very Midwest, northern Minnesota joke. Okay, but tricky Dick Dubois flouts King Alfred the Bather's orders in front of a company of men, and nothing comes of it.
I love the
What?
fact that my communist cyber stalker is so completely obsessed with politics that he's putting an outdated nickname for Richard Nixon on a medieval fantasy character. And it's like a sick burn in his head. So not only has he, been over in Beijing helping his buddies learn better English, but he apparently is my parents is my uncle's age, that because I haven't heard anybody. I'm all pushing 50 and nobody I in my generation uses that. That's from the generation before us. That's grade A hip. So I did not know that he was in his 70s, but all right.
And
you
this
you
next
you you get that, Republican. you know
yeah, sure. Why did none of the guards tell King Alfred the Bather? That is, I don't think that's a complete sentence. It doesn't feel like one.
it
It
is.
is
Yeah.
okay. It doesn't
So,
it flows so poorly.
guards tell King Alfred. There's our
Mm,
subject, object, and verb, and everything else is a modifier of that.
yeah.
Interrogative, negative. So all the required elements of a comprehensible sentence are there.
Yeah. You told the reader many times that Martel politics were vicious. Surely some ambitious non-head executioner would have wanted Tricky Dick Dubois' position and told King Alfred the Bather, Tricky Dick's head should have rolled.
Man, the early 70s are calling you. I mean, I'm sorry that time continued. You can maybe get a TARDIS somewhere.
Honestly, that's like me trying to make a like oh goodness, like a joke about the 2004 election and they making John Kerry jokes. Although he's
Yeah.
still technically in government, so I could sort of do that, but this is silly.
Stick that knife in. You just jam it in there.
Brutal.
But stab that corpse. I mean, I do believe Richard Nixon is dead, right? So we're literally beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Nobody in so I'm pushing 50. You're pushing you're in your early 30s, and neither
Yeah.
of our generations gives a rip. But
No.
man, he's hung up on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
again, I think I think I've already had him effortlessly by the end of Act One. I think he's effortlessly killed 7 or 8 people on screen.
This is not enough bloodshed.
Yeah,
And
no.
probably not nearly enough clothing was removed.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to that. We
Mm.
will get to that.
All right.
But the thing is, once you're scary enough, no, nobody does want your position because they want to survive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, Richard Nixon died in 94. So April of 94. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so your outrage is 30 years out of date, but you get him.
yeah.
Dance on that grave. You're
Yeah.
Will you be sharing this review with your friends in the DFL? Because if so, I'd like to put my link one more time. So the Slave of Turot, they too can hate my work. It's the start of a trilogy, so that they can get yet more
I think the what the phrase is that the artist is always our harshest critic. I don't know if that's correct anymore for you.
Nope.
Anyway, I usually hesitate to speculate on people's motivations and thoughts, but literary
Nobody
criticism.
believes this.
No, no, that is not a true statement. As rudimentary and poor as this may be, begs a reviewer to theorize on the thoughts of authors. I think you cannot bring yourself to be true to the alleged brutality of the Martells and the apparently official royally appointed title of Richard Dubois because you like them. They are secondary good guy protagonists in your novel after Ryan the Boy Wonder, Wolf the Big Bad, and Jefta the Dime Store Strider, and you cannot bring yourself to have them do anything which shows them in less than a good light.
Um, I don't know. I feel like killing 50 people without trial, warning, or evidence is
Okay, okay. Hold on.
morally gray.
We have to understand our audience here. He is an avowed communist. Communists are renowned for killing people without trial. So that's just a normal day in his book.
Point, point, point. Okay.
All right. And Bruce, your favorite authors are apparently Larry Correia and Jim Butcher. Yes,
Guilty. Guilty.
yeah, very guilty of this. I have read a novel or two from each writer, and neither shies away from describing violence, perfidy, general nastiness. There's no and in there. The good guys in their novels don't appear to be always the nicest of people. I don't get why you don't follow their examples.
I feel like having most of the characters participating in the slave trade in the opening, in the opening chapter.
Again, communist.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. Communist, as long as it's all peasants, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Subject, verb, predicate. Subject, verb, predicate. Subject, verb, predicate. The constant drum beat of the simplicity of your sentence structure was hard to take. I have words about that. To be fair, after about 60%
Stop. Share with group. We've got 2 minutes left.
It's 2 minutes left on this particular recording. I am I have not been very impressed by his particular sentence structure myself.
We
I
picked
have
up on
found
that, did
I
we?
have found that his writing voice to fluctuate wildly between paragraphs, and that his grasp of the English language is about that of a sophomore in high school at best.
Um, wait, we'll get finished. Well, I want to finish this paragraph before we
Okay,
stop and do the
all
next
right.
video because it gets better.
To be fair, after about 60% of the novel, your sentences began to vary in structure and your word choice and vocabulary became more varied and adult. Slightly so.
Pat, pat,
Uh-huh. If
condescending
if I did
dick.
not know that you were a native English speaker, Bruce, I would think this was written by someone who knew English as a second language and was not especially fluent in English at that. My next guess would have
Comma
been,
at that.
yeah, right. Again, punctuation is not your forte. My next guess would have been that you wrote the book with ESL learners as the target audience, but I don't think that was the motivation. ESL, for those watching, is English as a second language.
Yeah, not a supercilious piece of shit at all, right? I mean,
Right. I
how
mean,
how how could we not be how could we not be motivated to better accommodate somebody who's this damn likable?
right. Yes, yes. What's the triangle again? It's like for a character, it's that you have to like the triangle is
Likability,
likability
capability, and protag.
and protag.
Protag, and activism,
This
right?
man is a one-legged stool. He has protag, but I think he's not very likable, and his competence is sorely lacking as well.
I think you just said that Darrel can't be my hero. We'll have to pick that up on the next video. Farewell.